Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. This is LolaAjisafe here. So we're reviewing, please forgive me, it's a little late. I was out of town, I'm back, got really tired, but here it is. We're gonna do it. Let's see what's going on. Housekeeping rules, please don't forget to like the video coming in. Just like the video. It's late, so I'm gonna need y'all to like the video. Second, I want to hear from you, and if you haven't subscribed, please hit the subscribe button. All right, so today is episode 4, Advocate Sue. We already know what that's going to tell because we know where we left off. So anyway, it throws right into some dates. We're going to bring up these dates just because there's something I want to talk about. So first date they bring up would be with Marcia and Blue. Now we haven't really seen Blue, who's Blue Eyes. I don't think we've seen him on a lot of dates or any dates that I can recollect that I had anything to say about. So I'm looking at his interaction with Marcia, and he does seem like the laid back, like he might be, you know, that horse that waits in the pack until the end and then shoots forward. I think he's going to be one of those because he's just been sitting and he's just been like, we haven't really noticed him. I don't think I've seen him on a date, but let's see how this goes. But what I noticed here, which is where it's important, was he was just paying it like. Let's go. So with Marcia was talking about what she don't do, what she does do. She don't do this, she don't do that, she don't do this. Now, it's good to express yourself, be who you are, say what you're for, but she just seemed to be shutting herself off from everything. Oh, I don't do this, I don't go camping, I don't do blah, blah, blah. And I'm thinking to myself, yeah, she's shutting these things off and she hasn't even tried a bunch of them. She's just saying what she doesn't do, but she doesn't seem to be opening herself up to new experiences. And as I was thinking that later on, towards the end of their date, Blue's thinking that, like, I think she said something about she'd always thought she wouldn't date somebody with kids because why put yourself in that palaver if you don't need to. Yeah, I understand the reason, but sis, like, if I remember correctly, sis is in her 30s, so she I want to say she's probably experienced some life, but she just seemed like that approach. And I'm sure there are people like that, you know, well into their 40s and 50s that just seemed fixed. They seem fixed on what they will do and what they won't do. But I think in this life, regardless of what age you are, yes, you get to a certain age where you know what you like and you like what you like, but you should never be, you know, never be at a point where you're not interested or open to trying something new. Because the truth is, we don't know everything. We don't know what those experiences may bring to us, and they bring a different edge. I'm not saying jump off a cliff if you know you've got like heart problems, but still stay open. I think some of the people who are young at heart, and I don't mean like, you know, irresponsible, but just young at heart, are people who are open to new experiences, still open to learn regardless of their age. And I just think for someone like herself, just saying all the things she won't do, but not just saying, I'll give it a shot. If it doesn't work, then it doesn't work. So I feel like that closed her off immediately. And of course, Blue said as much as that. At the end of the day, it's like, well, okay, I guess, well, you're just going to be in the friend zone because you don't want to do anything I do. Because I think he's a big fishing buff, and she had something about like, ooh, fishing. Like, she never been on fishing, but she's canceling. Have I been fishing yet? I want to say I probably have, but before I'd ever been fishing, I was curious about it because people, you know, the fishing people I know, they said it, you know, it was zen. They'd go there with, you know, you go there with beer, whatever beverage your choice is, and just kind of, it's the waiting that was relaxing. It's almost like, you know, meditation, but meditation in nature, and just all the nice things. I'm just saying, guys, stay open to something new, and that's what I got from that. Like, just be open. You never know what you might like. You can still find new things you like. Different flavors of chocolate that you haven't tried that you might like. Different flavors of gummy bears that you haven't tried that you might like. So stay open. Another date that they brought up or showed us was the date between Mark Anthony and Jeffri. So we're coming straight off of Jeffri's declaration last week about, you know, Kid, aka Blake. So Mark Anthony and Jeffri get talking. You know, to me it seemed like, oh no, she's asking a real question. They get talking and she's like, you know, I have kids. You know, is this going to be an issue for you? Is this that? You know, they get talking. I'm just thinking like, okay, he seems to be saying things right. He seems to be saying things the right way, but is he just saying things because that's what he should be saying? Because it would be, you know, it won't be looked on, you know, nicely if he's putting her down because she has children. Or did they really have a good connection? They mentioned reportedly, according to them, their recollection of events, they had a great conversation because they didn't even get to the food. That's great. That's all good and well, but I don't know. It's left to be seen. I did have looked at Mark Anthony as, is he, Ron Julio player, used to be a Mac Daddy, no longer a Mac Daddy, he's trying to retire, don't want to be a player no more. I don't know, but it's still early days yet, so I'm not going to judge him. I'm give him a label, but I'm just keeping my eye out, just like Jeffri's keeping her eye out. And Jeffri seems to have her head on her shoulder, so I feel like she could sense, or she'd be able to read whatever's going into the situation, whatever it may be. But anyway, there's a scene where Uncle Nephew Tommy lets the guys know, I guess because this is the guys week, so he lets the guys know that this week we're going to go on a yacht, whatever homie. But anyway, they're going to go on a yacht, and the catch here is that at the end of the ride, one of the women will be eliminated. So that means they can't really just all chill and relax and drink, because that means there's work to be done, because they have to decide who they want to send home. He also lets us know that Andre is gone because he was positive for COVID. Not that I had hopes and dreams for Andre, but I thought he and Cynthia had a really cool connection. I really wanted to see how that was going to play out. So if I'm disappointed, I know Cynthia is disappointed, because I was really excited by what we saw. It was last week, right? It was last week. It just seemed really genuine, and the promises. And I told you, like, in real time, he looked like he was sincere. We wanted to see how that was going to play out. Like, we got cheated of an experience. Like, I feel cheated because I really wanted to see how that was going to play out. Like, I don't know. But here it goes. So right now they have now decided to, so now we've got less men, but they still want to eliminate a woman. Guys, does that make sense to you? I don't think so. They probably should not have eliminated anyone. So everyone's getting ready. They get on the yacht. Once again, they're all in beautiful colors. So one of the couples of note is Cynthia sitting down with Anthony, who's the NP. I don't remember seeing him on any dates either, so I'm paying attention. So Cynthia's got some wind that Andre is no longer here, and because she put some time and effort into that date. She came with her A game, and all of a sudden her A game is done drained because he's gone. So I feel, but she's Cynthia's a survivor because she hits the ground running. And what I realize now is that what we saw between Cynthia and Andre wasn't just because it was Cynthia and Andre, but I really feel there's something about Cynthia, and we'll continue to watch, but I really feel there is something about Cynthia, because she just seems to, as she enters or sits down with someone, her conversation is refreshingly authentic and appears to be sincere. I don't know her, but it just seems authentic, because she just seems to have real conversation every time she's sitting down with someone, because she goes ahead and it appears that she has a real conversation with Anthony, and I'm like, there's something about this lady Cynthia, that there's something about her. Like, if she don't get somebody on the show, she should find someone shortly once the show's done filming, because she just seems refreshingly just authentic. That's the word I keep coming up with. He just seems real, and real seems to be hard to find nowadays, I think. I don't know, but I don't think she'll real recognize real, and so I feel she should be able to, she doesn't get someone on the show, she should be able to get someone who can appreciate her for what she brings. All right, the next person that comes into the scene, Blake aka Kid, like, he pulls Suan to the side, and he tells her that he felt like she went out of her way to talk to him, cancel him, or just talk, let him know what was being said. And so he gives her a gift. I don't know, put something on her wrist. It's a bracelet. I don't know what I remember what it was. It wasn't maybe it was a watch or something he wrapped around her wrist. So how did I feel about that? That would have been a nice gesture, but everything about him seems so insincere. Now, could that be because I'm not really feeling him? It could be, but it just seems, one, it could be because I'm not feeling him, or two, maybe he's just not comfortable in front of the cameras, so he comes off very practiced, orchestrated, like rehearsed. He comes off, the word I'm looking for is rehearsed. He just seems rehearsed with his eyes darting. Like, anybody with their eyes darting just looks fishy. Looks shysty. Just doesn't look like they're planning any good for you. He doesn't appear to come from a sincere space. Now, like I said, it could be because he's on camera and he's not used to cameras, and there could be three people, I don't know. But just based on what I'm seeing, based on the clips that are shown on the OWN network, he comes off insincere. So all the while he's putting it around her wrist, his eyes are not carrying that emotion of, oh, I'm appreciative of, like this. So I feel like he's still playing the game. I'm sorry, he looks like he's still playing. And also, and Suan, if I remember correctly, is an attorney, so she has some gut in, but I stand corrected, forgive me. Just because you're good at your work doesn't mean that parlays into your personal life time and time again. But I just feel like attorneys can read people. That's part of what they do. They read you and then come in for the kill. But I don't know what kind of law she practices. I don't remember. But she does seem really... the softness she shows could also be a ploy, how she gets her people in court if she goes to court, because once again I don't remember what kind of law she practices. But I'll just say I think an attorney would be a little more cutthroat, but she seems really soft and gentle and almost naive. Not saying she is, but she appears to be naive. Now this is early days yet, I don't really know. She could be playing her role. This could be her representative, because you know if you're a strong woman, you want to come off a little softer. So maybe she kind of fell off going far to the right, so she's coming off too soft. But I don't know. So I don't know if she can see that, but just the way he presented a gift on her wrist, I'm not buying it. Now I stand corrected. Past seasons, I've agreed to eat crow when I'm wrong. So if I'm wrong, we'll roast a plate of crow and we'll eat it. But at this point, I'm not buying what he's selling. I'm sorry. So let's see how this goes. But yeah, like his eyes, like he looked like he plotting and planning. He just looks, I'm sorry, I don't want to call him shiesty because I don't know him, but it just really seems shiesty. Like there's one point where his eyes were just like darting. I'm like, this guy looks shiesty. Like he always looked like he's up to no good. Like he's calculating. But he's not even like a smooth calculator, because it's obvious. Like he not well rehearsed as a shiesty individual, because we can see it on camera. Let's move on before I keep talking about him. Then they go on to the next couple. I believe that's Morgan and Tony. Now we know Morgan likes Tony. I feel she does. Gives him time of the day. But she says today in her confessional, I don't know if she said it to him, but in her confessional, maybe she said it to him, that she felt like he wasn't giving her enough time, and blah blah blah. Like, sis, yes, you need to ask for what you want, but don't dwell on it. Tell them once. Maybe if you think they're hard of hearing, say it twice, and then move accordingly. So maybe that's what she did. So she told him, yeah, I don't feel paying attention, blah blah blah, and then just went off. She feels like he's coming off like a player. I don't know. I'm not seeing behind the scenes, so I don't know what he comes off as, but. Like she's in the confessionals, she's saying that she's going to be looking elsewhere, that Lyndon's going to be her top pick because Tony is not giving her the attention she requires. He's not, pursuing her appropriately or adequately. The problem with these shows is just, yeah, because it seems even apparent to me now that really she likes Tony, but she doesn't want to come out with the short end of the stick, so she's Lyndon. But that Lyndon thing, I don't see it. I don't see it. Like they seem like two different people. I don't see it. But I think she's playing the game because Lyndon looked like her backup, but she making him comfortable at this. Morgan playing a tight game. Like she seems like those Southern belles, that they seem all soft and gentle and just beguiling. But meanwhile, tick tock, tick tock, tick tock, they're planning a coup behind those soft, dovey eyes. Like she planning a coup. Like that's what Blake needs to take lessons. Cause Morgan doesn't come off like shiesty at all. But she probably a better coup plotter than him. Blake, take some notes. Go sit down with Miss Morgan and ask her how she does it. Like how she looked the way she looked, but she don't look like she planning a coup. Cause yeah, Blake just all over the place. But that's why I say, like, I feel like Morgan playing a tight game. Y'all don't know it, but it look like she is like that. But anyway, it looks at this point where she's like, oh yeah, like she's putting Tony to the side because she feels she's not putting enough time in. Then they bring up this shiesty game, but they find a different way of playing this shiesty game of truth or dare. This time it's not truth or dare. It's like, what's in the bottle? Read what's in the bottle. And so I think Morgan gets to pick something, and what she picks is Yeah, name 3 sexy people in the bunch. So she played it half smart. Like, I think, like she called out. She said, I think, what's the other? She says Marcia's sexy. She says Lyndon's sexy, and then she go ahead and say she's sexy. So she intentionally leaves Tony out, and Tony is surprised by that. You know, that confession. Like, so she didn't mention my name. Now that's one of 2 things. Like, one, like, I feel like she wants him, so she's trying to teach him a lesson. Now, could that backfire on her? Yeah, it could backfire on her, or it could work, because sometimes absence makes the heart grow fonder. So if he feels like he's not a definite shoe in, then he might work harder, or he might just be like, okay, cool, fish, lots of fish in the sea. I don't know. Let's see how it's going to play out, but it's 50-50, could play out either way. But at this point, she feels like that's how she's going to play it. So that's how. But traditionally, typically, if you leave the man to do the chasing without literally calling him out his name, he'll come. Because the 2 can't happen at the same time. Somebody has to pursue and somebody has to receive. Like, sometimes it can be like a back and forth. Maybe later on into it, the woman can be, you know, kind of put herself out there. But in the beginning, it always makes sense if you let him come to you, because then he's not going to be confused. Because if you come to him, he won't say no. Because I'm not going to say he's being a gentleman. He won't say no. He might be flattered by your attention, but that don't mean he's interested. So that's why I always say that when we go about that hill about who should pursue who. Because there's some clowns out there right now in these streets talk about, yeah, I'm the prize. You're the man. You talk about you're the prize. So you want to sit there like a woman and be chased. Like, if you're taking offense to what I'm saying, I'm sorry, but that's how I feel. Like, if you want to sit there like a woman and be chased, then why don't you wear a dress? I'm sorry, but yeah, that's just how I feel. Like, men are meant to pursue. You're gonna come from me and say, no. I can't change how I feel, what I believe a man is meant to pursue. You sit down there with your legs crossed like a chick and you say you want to be chased, then that's how. So I get where she's going with, but I don't know. Let's see how this settles. So it could play out. It could play in her favor. It could not play in her favor. But that's the card she decided to play. So she must be experiencing this little game of push and pull. So let's see. So she decides not to even bring, you know, Tony in. So Tony for real is like confused. Like, yo, I thought we had this. But anyway, moving on. There's another part of the game where you know, Jeffri picks out a thing to kiss her top connection. This stupid thing comes up every season, and it never brings any good. It always creates chaos, confusion, and problems. Okay, so they bring up this shiesty little move again this season, and so Jeffri's like, well, I'm going to be true to myself, and so I'm going to kiss the person, top person for me. Top person for her right now, of course, is Mark Anthony. And I think prior to that, Mark Anthony had been told to give people a foot massage. He picked 2 people. He picked Mercedes, who's the flight attendant, and then of course he picked Jeffri because they've been feeling themselves. So of course, you know, Jeffri reciprocates and decides, well, I'm going to be real. I'm going to keep it real. I'm just going to keep it real, and and of course with this part they don't have the option of truth, or, you know, to get out of telling the truth and do like whatever it is. So anyway, so she decides to give Mark Anthony a pick. My G Demario, who thought he was foot in, was stewing. Like, he mad. I don't know, you know, I shouldn't judge him, because the truth is it's not really a natural situation. I think I've said times without number that I would not want to be put in that situation, because really it's not fun to see somebody you fancy still having to continue to pursue other people, even though you know that you guys might have shared something. It's just not natural. It's not even fair for my entertainment, you're having to go through that. But here we are talking about it. So yeah, so I'm not gonna make fun of Demario, but Demario feels some kind of way about this. Like, he thought that was his top connection. Up until that point, Demario walked in feeling like Jeffri was his top, and whoever, I don't know. And all of a sudden he talked about Corvea. And he and Corvea have a conversation, and she buttering him up. She don't know that his mind is on somebody else, or maybe she does know. But I just feel like Corvea saw that. I think he drives a Porsche, you know, a Porsche Cayenne. So she like, okay, he might have some, you know, some finances, his finances together, he's financially stable, he fits the bill. Because other than that, I don't see any chemistry. I don't see anything about the conversation. I see her more or less pandering, but I don't see a connection. I see Demario just distracted, just trying to make up for the shock that he just received. But when you see a connection, you see a connection. I don't see a connection, folks. I'm not saying they can't end up together. They probably could, but for the most part, anytime we see that, when you end up with your backup, your backup doesn't last. If you don't get your first choice and you go to the backup, it doesn't last on TV and in real life. So Demario is distracted, but he enjoying the attention. She's telling him is this, is that, is that. And even with Corvea, she's claiming what she wants. She wants stability, but I don't even feel her. Yeah, y'all, they don't have a connection, but they're going to drag this thing through. So for now they're picking each other at the tops. Let's see how this goes. So Jeffri is sitting down talking with, I believe, Mark Anthony, and then the homie Kid, aka Blake, comes over, excuses her, has her come upstairs, and he want to talk about what transpired last week. But the weak move he played, that he really just made me respect him even less, was, so if you want to get someone and jack them up, like you come with it. Come with like he had some fake energy but had no words. Like all of a sudden he's acting bruh man, we're acting coy. Coy is not masculine. So like he's confused. Like how you gonna be rah, and then you're like coy. Like and she sis was good too. Jeffri was like, yo, so would you like to be specific? Is there something in particular you'd like to address? I'm gonna give Jeffri points because she looks all soft and tender like a Southern belle, but she got like a steel backbone. Like she's been through it, so she knows how to deal with clowns like this. And so she's like, would you like to be more specific? And he's flustered, and at the end of the day is not specific or does not state anything. That's a red flag. I'm sorry, because if you're feeling some kind of way, somebody has said something that you didn't say it. Like, my G, you said that I said you were my number one? Say it in front of the camera and say it with your full chest. He couldn't. He's not even a good liar. A good liar would have lied and played that out, and the living room would look at him like, holy smokes. Yes, you did. He couldn't even, that's why I said, like, he's not an experienced, shisty fellow. Maybe he's been doing it, but he just didn't master it, because he couldn't even lie in front of the camera. Because if you were gonna go do that, then go all the way, like rah. But he came like he gave like, he didn't give like a he didn't give a full roar, like he gave me like a little pet cat. He was trying to come in like a lion and came in sounding like a cat, like he was purring instead of roaring. So he comes all the way there only to say, well, that's all I have to say. My sis played it perfectly. Oh really? So we're not going to be specific? And then he knew he'd been had, because he wasn't prepared to be honest. So he decided to terminate the conversation. Weak. And once again, that's a red flag. Like, guys, if anybody believed that he didn't say it, now you changed your mind, because now you're like, he said it. That's how I'm feeling. Like, I believe that he said it anyway, but I leave room for doubt because I wasn't there. Truth is, I wasn't there. Cameramen weren't there. Apparently this conversation happened between two. It's an A and B conversation. C was not present, so C my way out of the conversation. But still, I've left with the facts and I put them together like an investigator. And his behavior today and in the past really gives Jeffri's revelation some credibility, particularly today. If y'all had any doubts, I know you don't have them anymore. Like, but sometimes, I was going to say his days are numbered, but sometimes they leave these clowns on longer just to continue to stir up the pot. So he does all that. To say he upset. He wants an explanation, but he's not ready to say what he wants an explanation and apology for. How you turn the page? Next. I'm looking around. Like, it was last week where Jonique and Lynn appeared to have a great conversation and seem really connected. I didn't see them talk today. Did y'all? I didn't see it at all. Surprise. Did something happen behind the scenes? Because these people still disobey instructions. So everything doesn't play out in front of camera, because all of a sudden I didn't see Jonique and Lyndon, and they seemed to really have a decent conversation in that cafe last week. But anyway, let's see. We might get news about it, we might not. Coming off of her conversation, or lack thereof, with Blake, Jeffri goes to find, I don't know, anyway, she went to go find Suan, who was sitting down with Demario. So she's sitting down with two enemies. You know how they say the enemy of my enemy is my friend? I don't know why Demario was sitting with Suan, but it just seemed too convenient. Because let's be clear, like, is foe or friend? These are two foes she's sitting with. But she bold and she's strong, and she sit down there because she know Demario not feeling her after she gave that guy a peck. She know this. And she knows Suan wants Blake. So anyway, she sits down, says like, you know, so what up? So what up? You know what's this meme? You want to post up, but anytime I show up, you don't want to do this.
Please, you want to keep doing this, but then when I come around, you don't want to post up. So how about you just say it to my face, the things you've been saying about me? So,
you know, Jeffri goes on to see, you know, if Suan's gonna post up. I really don't know what Jeffri wanted to get out of this conversation, or maybe she wanted to vent, or maybe one of the producers told her, yeah, go sit over there, like, give us some more, we want some more about this. So, you know, Suan and Jeffri kind of have a little, I don't like that. How about that? I don't like that, because then it makes them look like they're fighting over that clown. They ain't. Only Suan's interested in him, and Suan's defending him. Is that, and in her confessional, she's calling Jeffri a liar. Yo, Suan, you better be very sure that Jeffri's a liar. You better be very sure, because now you're putting your professional credibility on the line for that. I'm not going to say what I was going to say, because I don't know him like that. But for that, sis, you're putting your credibility on the line. Like, that's not worth it. But anyway, I didn't like that little exchange of Demario's looking like this. Like, you know, I said in the beginning, y'all, that I felt like Demario would do some things just to not come off as the straight-laced accounting guy. At this point, I mean, I know that he has no dog in this race, but I feel like a true gentleman would have intervened and terminated that conversation. That's just me, and like, you know, y'all can agree or not, but I just felt like a true gentleman would have said, lady, it's something, instead of watching them like he watching Wimbledon. It's not the Wimbledon, because they're not fighting about you. How about that? Terminate the conversation, bring it back to you, be smooth with it, because you came off trying to be smooth in the beginning. Clearly you ain't that smooth, because they talking about another man, you sitting there like this. I'm sorry, like, I'm not gonna come for Demario, I just said that, you know. But anyway, they get into the deliberation. So now all of a sudden, off 30 minutes conversation, Demario wants to put all his life savings and throw them at Corvea, because most of the guys are not feeling Corvea. They're like, they want to axe her, and he's like, yo, that's my only connection. Bruh, I guess he's trying, you know, that's the issue with the show. Because you have to save a spot, you no longer can be really authentic with who you're really connecting with. Because you just like 20 minutes in with this chick, and you talk about that's your only true connection. But anyway, all of a sudden he wants to use their lifeline to try and save Corvea. And rightfully so, Mark Anthony's like, yo, we shouldn't waste it now. Like, we can save it later. There might be some other, you know, I think he's the term chick, some other chick you might want to save. You might be feeling more than Corvea. No, I don't, because they all have to agree. I don't want to use it. I agree with Mark Anthony, because I have nothing against Corvea. Like, she's honest whoever she presents. But yeah, like, he trying to use that lifeline for someone he's only had a real conversation, and it wasn't even a real conversation. You all watch that conversation, it wasn't a real conversation. He only talked to her for like, I don't know how long it was, but look, maybe it was 20 minutes. All of a sudden, that's his top connection. They're getting worse and worse at playing this game. So anyway, they have the three bottom. They have Jeffri, who is, you know, that's, what's his name, Blake's revenge, he put her up. And of course, Demario's feeling scorned, so he puts a hand out like, yeah, I'm gonna put her up too. And then they put up Marcia, I believe, and then who's the last? Of course, Corvea. and then they have Tony come out to talk with them. So they say some nonsense. Marcia is, I don't remember what they said about Marcia. That she comes off as everybody's buddy, like she buddy. Okay, might be true. They say that Jeffri she has a shell. No, she don't. Like, you're talking rubbish. That's rubbish. And then they talk about Kovea. She don't think before she speaks. Like, I'm not Kovea fan, but I have an issue with that, because what you're not doing is you're going to talk to me like you're talking to a child. Like, I need to think before I speak, because that's condescending. Like, nah. First of all, uncle, nephew, Tommy shouldn't have let that fly. That's not a reason. You could say, but how do you mean she don't think before she speaks? You're not talking to a child. Poor girl had to take that nonsense. She should have cut them off right at the knees. Like, who are you talking to? I don't think before I speak. Do I look like a little kid to you? Do I look like your kid? Yeah, like, I'm feeling my the back of my neck is rising, because I'm feeling a little bit triggered, because that's disrespectful. If one of them said something like that to one of the men, there would be an issue, and they probably wouldn't. You don't have to disrespect her because you don't like her. That's disrespectful. I'm sorry. You don't think before you speak. Who you talking about? Do I look like a 5-year-old to you? That you're talking crazy? She actually is quite, I think she might be blunt in her delivery. That doesn't mean she don't think before she speaks. Now, of course, I haven't seen other things that transpired behind the camera or things they didn't show. But I think in all she said, she's not necessarily, she just says what she feels. This is what I believe. This is what I think. I don't think I want to be a man who has a roommate, Lyndon. That don't mean I didn't think before I spoke. That simply means that that's my preference. And that's fair. So I have a problem with that. But of course they want to do a little cliffhanger. So it's to be continued. Anyway, guys, we got to the end of the episode. Once again, I really apologize that it's late. Please don't forget to like, comment, or subscribe. And I really appreciate you guys waiting for this video to come out. And I guess I'll see you all later. Lola, over and out.